The Jaguars are future-focused.
Got to be about the future. It's got to be about tomorrow and planning for the next day, and then ultimately bringing all that into focus as we attack the season.
Welcome to the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Brian Sexton have all the news and information to get you ready for today's game. The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by Baptist Health, Farah and Farah, and by TIAA Bank. The Publix Tailgate Show starts right now.
Good afternoon. Head coach Doug Pederson has been where we are before, not Atlanta, a player cut 6 times by Don Shula and Miami in the early 1990s, and all he ever wanted was a chance to prove himself. He eventually did, played more than a dozen years, winning a Super Bowl with Mike Holmgren and Brett Favre, finally connecting with Andy Reid and setting up his own championship coaching career. This afternoon, the Jaguars' new head coach hopes to offer every player on the bubble that same opportunity, a chance to play his best and perhaps open the door to his own professional dreams. That's what this 4th and final preseason game is made of, dreams. And with that, we'll travel back to Jacksonville and welcome in Mike Dempsey. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hello, Brian. How are you?
I'm good. This is the Publix Tailgate Show from Atlanta and from Jacksonville. And, Mike, when you look at this game, it's that old grab your hard hat. And I'm not talking about players. I'm talking about people who are watching it. You're mining. You're mining for gold. You're trying to find diamonds in the rough, to keep the analogy going, and I'll stop it. But you are looking for guys who can fill a role on your team, whether that's someone on special teams or a swing tackle, a tight end who can also play H-back. That's what today is about.
Oh, sure. There are guys looking to fill roles that you know are going to be on the team, and you're not quite sure what that role is going to be. And we don't know what the number is, but there are probably a number of spots in flux to actually be on this roster, Brian. And so guys will be out there today trying to show you a little something extra. Maybe if it's a guy who's primarily a special teams contributor, if he gets a chance on offense and makes a few plays, or vice versa. If you're going to be one of the last guys that makes his team, you're going to have to play special teams, so you're going to have to shine in that regard today. And even if you do make the final cut down to 53, Brian, with the Jaguars being in position with the first waiver selection across the league, you can't exactly sleep comfortably knowing that they're going to be mining other teams' cuts to try to improve this roster as well.
Especially if you're a kicker, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. How about we roll into our top stories? You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. We'll start with the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. Trayvon Walker is home this week, practicing just miles from where he started at the University of Georgia earlier this week, and playing today just miles from his hometown. He's ready to play for real, and he certainly understands the expectations.
I know I'm going to get everybody's best shot, but I don't feel like I just have a target on my back, because everybody's out here trying to make a living for themselves or their family, and so am I. I mean, just got to keep going, get to work.
The young man has an obvious physical skill set. And then when you hear him talk, Mike, you understand that he is a very mature young football player who understands what's in front of him.
Oh, no doubt. Look, he has a physical skill set that comes with great drive and energy when he's on the field. He's very noticeable when he's out there. At least he has been in the preseason and in practices, Brian. And I think what we're going to have to watch for, obviously not today, but once we get into the regular season, is where does the refinement come in his game? Because, as much as we're just kind of letting Trayvon Walker loose here to see what he can bring in terms of wreaking havoc on opposing teams' offensive lines, they're not really game planning for him yet either. So they're going to watch the tape of Trayvon Walker, and we'll see if he can come up with some moves and counter moves other than, just using his obvious strength and acceleration, getting into the chest of offensive linemen. It's been effective, but that alone won't be enough for him to make a mark as the number 1 overall pick.
No, you can see the progress. I saw it on the practice field this week up in Flowery Branch against the Falcons. He was on a hard rush off the right side of the Falcons' offensive line and read the quarterback, who threw quickly, and he contorted, and that's hard to do when you're 6'5", by the way, 270, and turned his body back to the outside and very nearly had an interception. So he's a promising young player, and as with all promising young players, patience is required. We'll move on. Last year's number 1 overall pick is also home, and just like Trayvon, is practicing and playing in a familiar spot. He knows the expectations for him are higher than they were a year ago, and he is comfortable with where he's at.
I really like where I'm at. I think as far as the offense goes, I feel really comfortable, feeling more and more confident each day, and just feel really good with where I'm at with all the receivers, tight ends, running backs, and then protection. Our communication, especially me and Luke, is getting really, really good, and we're on the same page more and more. So I have a lot of confidence in that group up front, and I love where we're at. So, I've said it before, it's about getting better every week. So we'll see, where we're at in a few weeks.
Mike, and I know there's been a hue and cry out there among Jaguars fans who are wondering where he's at. We haven't seen much in terms of overall game planning, and they've been as vanilla as they could possibly be. Watching him on the practice field at the Episcopal School, it sure seems like he has taken a step forward this year. And I think obviously a lot of that goes with the offensive brain trust that's been built around him.
Yeah, and I think we were encouraged by what the first-team offense was able to do in terms of moving the ball last week. It was just getting bogged down in the red zone. And from all accounts, Brian, and you were there on the scene, you could say better than I could, they seem to do pretty well in these joint practices in red zone specific situations. They're not game planning yet for the red zone. We haven't seen the full package of plays, but we'd all like to see the ball converted, stuck in the end zone early on if they get those opportunities against Washington in a couple of weeks, to not let this feeling linger that they can move the ball but not ultimately punch it in when it matters.
No, you said it right there, when it matters. And what matters today for the Jaguars, and especially the new special teams coordinator, Heath Farwell, is getting a good look at two young kickers. He isn't fazed by the sudden changes to the group. A new kicker flew to Jacksonville on Monday and then flew with the Jaguars to Atlanta on Tuesday, and then another kicker was added yesterday and just arrived. Farwell doesn't know if James McCourt or Jason Verity is the solution, but he does know that it's his job to find one for this football team.
It's just part of the process. We're trying to find the best roster, and we're just going to keep going through not only the kicker position, but all positions. Is this guy on our team better than anybody across the league that may come available? And we're going to continue that. That's going to be all season long of, hey, this guy, we like our guy, but this other guy's pretty good as well. And we have to really look into that and evaluate that each and every day and every week. So we'll continue to do that throughout the season. And we're trying, like I said, we're trying to get the best roster, and whatever that takes, we're going to do it.
You get a sense that Doug Pederson isn't fazed by this, Mike. He mentioned earlier this week that I think he had 6 kickers in the process in Philadelphia when he first got started there.
Well, he's not fazed by it, but it's still very important, right? And I do think, we've been talking about this for weeks now, and really the entire offseason since Doug Pederson got hired. Guy with his resume, you tend to trust him. So when he says, relax, don't worry about it, I've got this, okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I will say this is an extremely important position for this team because it's a team, Brian, that's probably not going to win a lot of games just going away. So if they are a lot more competitive than they've been in the last couple of seasons, that means close games in the fourth quarter that can easily be swung on the swing of a leg. So, we've gotten used to really good kicking around Jacksonville, even when the team around the kicker hasn't been that good. Let's see if they can find that guy that can win some of those close games for him this year.
So James McCourt, who comes in here, he arrived with the team on Tuesday. As a rookie, has never kicked in a regular season game. Jason Verity hasn't either. He's the guy who came here yesterday, cut by the Colts, and he's 2 of 2 in this preseason. So I'm not sure how much we're going to learn today. We'll find out more, obviously, after the game. The head coach has kept watch on a really important battle in training camp this summer, and at one point it all seemed but certain that second-year tackle Walker Little would win the job. But in recent weeks, Jawan Taylor has evened the score. The head coach knows it is almost time for him to declare a winner.
Jawan is really, I think, he's played consistent, played well. Walker's right there with him. I mean, it's still a little bit of a competition. I think both of them have done some really good things. This game, we'll see, how much time each one plays. But, we got to make a decision soon because we're getting ready for week 1.
And, Mike, they have. It's going to be Jawan Taylor.
Yeah, it seems like it, right? And I think you talk to people who are around the team on a daily basis. They wanted Walker Little to take this job, and he had the opportunity when Jawan was out injured to really separate himself, but he didn't. And Jawan has been pretty consistent, as you've heard from Doug Pederson. This doesn't mean he'll start 17 games this year, clearly, Brian. I think if it's this close, you're going to have an eye on him, not necessarily down in, down out, drive by drive, but on a weekly basis, you're going to evaluate how he's playing. But I would agree with you that it looks like Jawaan Taylor opens the season as a starting right tackle.
Yeah, Doug Pederson told us in our television production meetings this week, the left spot at guard has already been settled. That's Ben Barge. And Jawaan Taylor has won it with his strong performance in recent weeks. Of course, we won't see either of those guys play. We will not either see Foye Oluokun, the former Atlanta Falcon who last year led the league in tackles with 192. However, we will hear from him because the former Falcon back with his teammates was enjoying the week of practice up at Flowery Branch, and the Jaguars defense looked good in the joint practice session with the Falcons, and so did he. Now, the former Falcon likes what he sees, but says the standard is much higher than we have seen to date with this football team, and he's got his eyes on where they can go.
Defense can look good at times. I think we need to stay good when we're going well. Obviously, I don't want to be wavy. I want to stay high. I mean, I think we've shown 2 preseason games we look pretty good. I think we have to have that be our expectation. That way we can always play that well, no matter who we're playing against, whether it be our own offense or come out here, joint practice. I don't want to go into any lulls. We should expect, I would say, dominance, but that's what we're striving for every day.
Mike, you like to hear that from the guy who's going to be tasked with making most of the tackles.
Yeah, look, absolutely, right? Led the league last year, went up, had a good couple of days of practice, and I'm sure he was really keyed up to do that against his former team. And his experience is going to be something that Devin Lloyd really needs to rely on early in the year because we know Lloyd has not seen much, hoping to see maybe a quarter out of him today after that hamstring injury to open up training camp. So not only his own play on the field, but what he does to help ease Devin Lloyd's transition in the NFL makes Foye Oluokun, I think, a very important player early in the year for the Jaguars.
All right, those are the big stories of the week told to us by the newsmakers at the top of the Publix Tailgate show, and we'll have more sound from around training camp coming up in the second hour of the Publix Tailgate show at 1 o'clock. Time now for our weekly visit from Emmanuel Thalorant, ET, where he talks directly to you. It's called Come On, Somebody.
Come on, somebody! Yes, sir! Woo! Feel like I needed to just set the tone on this here edition of Come On, Somebody. And just like that, we're back with another edition of Come On, Somebody, where I, E to the T, allow you, the people, to talk that talk. Jaguars talk, of course. With all your hot takes, all your cold takes, all your lukewarm takes, and anything Jaguars. I want you to express yourselves. But all I ask is that you say it with your chest. Let's see what you got. Come on, somebody.
Come on, somebody.
Come on.
Come on, everybody.
Come on.
Let me get a big... Let's get some Falcons.
Okay, I like that. That's how you get it started. Come on, somebody.
Let me tell you something, man. I've been a Jaguars season ticket holder since day one.
Oh, that's what's up.
We got a hell of a lineup right now, man.
Yeah, it's looking good on paper.
Trayvon Walker and all the boys, man. I think we're going to be great, man.
I hope so.
It's going to be a great season.
I hope for that, too.
I'm looking forward to really coming around the corner and getting it done.
A lot of optimism in that call. I was just hoping that you was just going to finish that thing right. It's all good, though. Come on, somebody.
ET, man, I just need my Jags to get right this year, man. I'm just sick and tired of getting clowned every morning when I get to work.
You need ET to come holler at the big bad bullies? What you need from me?
Make something happen, man.
All right. Hey, y'all better stop making fun of my boy. Them Jaguars going to be all right this year.
Man, come on, somebody, man. Duval.
Trayvon Walker gonna be a QB stalker.
Yo!
Never gonna be a ball hawker.
Okay, bars.
He's to the T, baby. Say it for your chest out.
Chest always out, big homie. What you mean?
Come on, somebody. It's been said.
You heard what the homie said? He said stalker and ball hawker. Out here dropping bars on my line. Come on, somebody.
Between Trevor Lawrence and Dougie P., Trevor Lawrence is the guy, and Dougie P has 100% more Super Bowl rings than anyone else who has ever coached this organization. Between those two, good things are coming to Duval.
Now, you know what? I ain't even gonna say nothing because of the way you said Duval. Come on, somebody.
Hey, it's Hicken here.
Oh, the media mogul that pulled up on me. What they do? Dano?
Listen.
I'm listening.
The Jaguars aren't playing their starters, so I'm not playing either.
What you talking about, Dano?
Look, I consider myself a starter. I'm a media mogul.
You are the media mogul, but what are you talking about, Dano?
If they ain't starting, I'm departing. Have a great weekend, everybody. Come on, somebody.
Hey, my dog said if they ain't starting, I'm departing. I know that's right, Dano, but we're going to have to work on that come on, somebody. And we're going to finish on that note. To everybody who called in, I appreciate y'all. Keep hitting my line, because I love it. To all the players, good luck. And to all my people, be safe. Have a good weekend, and come on, somebody.
Mike, I just got to know, what happens when that guy drinks espresso?
He doesn't, fortunately, man. You should see the build-up to right when we crack the mics in the morning. I mean, you get basically the same thing you just heard right there from E.T., that same level of energy. So I get them for 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday. I'm not surprised at all.
That is radio magic. I love it. I love it. All right, well, up next on the Public Tailgate Show, as we roll along here from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
When they cut me last year, to be honest, when they cut me, I still felt like I was comfortable here. I felt like this was a place where I needed to be.
That's wide receiver Laquon Treadwell in our Baptist Health player interview. You'll hear why he thought Jacksonville was the place for him to be. Plus, our weekly visit with CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco. The Jaguars and the Falcons are coming up at 3 o'clock Eastern Time here from Atlanta. You're listening to the Publix Tailgate Show. This is Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Want to make sure he gets to the game on time?
Tommy, your uniform is ready. Let's go.
Install a natural gas dryer, and you're guaranteed faster drying times and softer laundry. And now you can earn a valuable cash rebate up to $200 on an energy-efficient natural gas dryer. Show your home love with natural gas, and it loves you right back. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. In-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
What do you call a group of friends who wear the same jersey for good luck, no matter how old it is, and who support their team through thick and thin, week after week, as if the very season depended on it, while tossing the pigskin and drinking Miller Lite? You call it Miller Time in Jacksonville. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2022 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Paid for by FDOT.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in downtown Atlanta and in Jacksonville at TIAA Bank Field. Brian Sexton in Atlanta, Mike Dempsey in Jacksonville. Jaguars Falcons comes up at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. And Mike, every week you get the chance to catch up with Pete Prisco. That's got to be 5 fascinating minutes.
Well, from whose perspective, I'm not sure. But nevertheless, we always enjoy getting together to chop it up about the Jags. And one of the things, Brian, that we wanted to talk about was the fact that, even though they came in with some existing injuries in the preseason, the Jags have done a pretty good job remaining healthy overall.
And, Mike, you want to come through it, get some stuff in, navigate the games, and hope like heck that you don't get anybody major hurt. And, that's the most important part of the preseason. They've done a nice job with that. Keep your fingers crossed, but that's exactly what you hope to get. A lot of work, little injuries, and that's so far.
Yeah, knock on wood for sure in that department. Devin Lloyd is a guy who's missed a lot of the preseason because he did get hurt during the conditioning run at the beginning of training camp. Pete, what's your level of comfort having him out there to open up the season, knowing he hasn't played very much, hasn't practiced very much, and do you have a little bit more confidence when you've got a vet like Foye Oluokun lining up next to him?
I think having a veteran next to him will help. That's always good to have a guy who he can help line you up. He can get you in the right defense. He's a veteran. He understands the defense. He's been there from, the spring. But, yeah, you want to see you guys on the field. That guy was a first-round pick. You wanted to see him on the field, and that was a lingering issue. And, the more it lingered, the more concerning it got. But as long as he's there for the regular season and can learn the defense, I'm sure he understands the defense. He's had a lot of time to learn it. But applying it on the field is the most important thing. I think he'll be fine. You just hope like heck that thing doesn't, have another issue with the hamstring. Yeah, I just hope it's not lingering. That's always a problem. It can sometimes linger and it can come back. That's the concerning part of it.
All right, Pete, we know we're not going to see much from the starters today, although the battle continues to be waged at the right tackle position. So collectively, what you've seen in off-season practices all throughout training camp and preseason game action, give me a standout for you on the offensive and defensive side of the ball for the Jaguars.
Well, I think the offensive side of the ball, it has to be Zay Jones. He's exceeded my expectations. I think, from the time I was there in practice early, the first practice, all the way through the preseason, he's been outstanding. And I think that's a pleasant surprise for them. We thought Christian Kirk would be good. I still think he's going to be very good. But if Zay Jones can do in the regular season what he's done in the preseason, that's going to carry over in a big way for the offense. And then the other one on the defensive side of the ball, I think Tyson Campbell has elevated his game to where he can now be considered one of those guys who can travel with a receiver. He's improved in all the aspects of it, whether it be the technique, his ability to play man. I think he's got a chance to be a really special corner in the NFL. So those two guys really have stood out for me.
Yeah, particularly Campbell getting kudos practically every day at practice. Nice to see his mate Williams back up to full strength and ready to go for the start of the season. But on Zay Jones' side of things, we know he's got a spot solidified in that wide receiver core. Pete, what about beyond the top three of Kirk, Jones, and Jones? What do you see for Laviska Shenault and Laquon Treadwell? How confident are you that they're both on the roster? And ultimately, what will their roles be if they are?
Yeah, I think, one of them could be in trouble. And, depending on which one it is, I think that's to be determined. You use a high pick on Shenault, and granted it wasn't this regime, but you use a high pick on him. You'd like to think he'd have a little bit of an edge, but I haven't seen a lot from him. I think Treadwell's been the better receiver. They might go with a younger guy. If they go with a younger guy, then one of those two could be in trouble. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I wouldn't say one's ahead of the other, but I would probably lean more toward Treadwell than Shenault if they decide to get rid of one of them.
Talking here with Pete Prisco, CBS Sports. Pete, the kicker battle continues to be a bit of a revolving door. Ryan Santoso shown that door, and enter James McCourt. He gets the first crack at it, although I'm sure the Jags will be watching the waiver wire to see what veteran kickers are released. What are the odds that McCourt is your opening day place kicker in Jacksonville?
I think their kicker's going to come from somebody else's roster. There's probably a close competition with a veteran and a younger kicker, and they're keeping their eyes on it. And when one of those guys gets released, I think that's going to end up being their kicker. I think we talked about in week one, we talked about that, Mike, and I told you, I said, I don't think their kicker's on the roster. I still don't know if their kicker's on the roster. I think they're going to do their due diligence and find a guy out there who can come in and be a reliable kicker.
All right, last one here for you, Pete, and we'll see how it all plays out in the regular season. But based on from the very beginning of the offseason to now, give the Jags organization kind of a grade for the position they put themselves in for 2022.
I'd give them a B+. I think they've improved the roster greatly. I think that defense is actually going to be pretty good. They're bigger. They're tougher. That's going to matter when you want to try and stop teams in that division, particularly Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry. And I think the quarterback they surrounded the quarterback with some playmakers, some guys who can help him. And Travis Etienne in the passing game will be a threat. So I think they've done a good job in the offseason. But again, until you get on the field and show people, there's going to be a lot of doubters out there. So it's an important year from that standpoint. They have to take a step forward.
Share the Rosie B+ assessment with Pete Prisco?
Yeah, I think they've done a nice job. You never know until they play, right? I mean, because all that then becomes meaningless. The record is what you judge them on. But, I like the head coach at heart. I like the coaching staff he's put together, Brian. I like a lot of the player acquisitions that they've made. Do they have holes on this football team? Absolutely. But when you've earned the number one pick 2 years in a row, you're going to not be able to fix it all in one off season. So I think, whether it's a solid B+, I think they've done a nice job, but ultimately that grade will change dramatically, potentially, based on what the one-loss record is.
Well, and ultimately that's the deciding factor, but it was clear that they had a plan, that they executed the plan.
No doubt.
And they weren't flying by the seat of their pants, and that hasn't always been – not that they ever did that, but you get my point. There were times where it felt like they were reaching for things, and this year it never did.
Well, they had an aggressive plan, too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you compare it to last year, they kind of sat back on their hands a little bit, and they went out the first day and signed a half dozen guys that they said were their top 6 priorities in free agency. So we'll be able to grade whether they made the right decisions, but in terms of executing the plan they had, I think they did an excellent job.
$175 million, the most expensive free agent class in NFL history, though next year that will be surpassed, no doubt. Well, if you're a Jaguars fan on the go, we've got the ticketing plan for you. The bundle at the bank is designed to fit your schedule and save you money when you create your own custom plan. From celebrating Tony Baselli's Hall of Fame enshrinement on October the 9th to cheering the Jags on against the Dallas Cowboys on December 18th. You'll get the flexibility you want for your time when you visit TIAA Bank Field this fall. Visit Jaguars.com/bundle or dial 904-633-2000 today and get your bundle at the bank. Well, the player interview this week is presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. They are the official sports medicine provider of the Jaguars. Veteran wide receiver Laquon Treadwell will play today. That's what happens when you're still fighting for your job. The former first-round pick of the Vikings came to Atlanta this week, hoping to get a lot of good work in against the Falcons and further his case to stay in North Florida for a second consecutive season. He left the practice field this week with a smile all over his face.
It was amazing. It's always good to get out there and test your abilities against another team, especially in a practice setting. Games happen fast, and then you have to move on. But in a practice setting, you can go out, watch it. You can go in practice, go back in the film room, watch it, come back and fix it, and just continue to get better in your craft, and that's the biggest thing for us athletes. We always want to get better.
Through the last 2 preseason games, it sure looks like there's a rhythm to this offense. You were here last year with the rookie quarterback. Where are you guys as you get ready to start the regular season?
We're definitely in a rhythm. Coach Pederson, Coach Press, Coach Jim Bob, Coach, all the coaches. I mean, they do a really good job. Coach CJ, they do a really good job of coaching it and then allowing us to walk through it and get multiple reps before we even get that live rep on the game day. So it's paying it's paying off, and they're also doing a good job of putting us in the right positions for our skill sets to execute the play. So. We're way above. I'm not going to say we're above schedule, but it does feel good. It does feel different from last year.
You were here for a year. You were in Minnesota. Give me a veteran's perspective on where the young quarterback is in season number 2.
Yeah, Trevor looks great. I'll just say he looks great. I think he's more confident. I believe he's seeing the defense a lot slower. It's slowed down a lot. You could tell it slowed down a lot, and. I really honestly think he loves the coaches who's coaching him. It's more communication, it's more knowledge, it's more information that he's getting going into practices, going into games. And that's for every position. We're all getting a lot of information. We're getting a lot of coverages we want to see. We're just getting all the details that we need to go and execute these plays at a high level.
Tell me what role you've carved out in this wide receiver room. You know, Christian Kirk's the slot guy, and we've seen some things from different guys. When people ask you, what's your role, what do you say?
I'm a playmaker, so that's all I can say. I mean, wherever that ball goes, and if it's coming to me, I'm looking to make a play on it. So that's my mindset. That's been my mindset. That's going to always be my mindset.
So you're the clutch guy. When the ball needs to go somewhere, you're the guy who's there. You say it's always been your mindset. Was it that way in high school? Was it that way in college? Where does that mindset come for in an NFL receiver?
Wow. I think it just comes from your upbringing. I mean, I'm used to doing that. You know, I'm used to making plays. I'm used to going out and having fun and winning ball games. So now that I found a home here in Jacksonville and playing at a high level and playing really well, you know, it just feels like myself again. And so I just go out there, I have fun with it like as if I was a kid again, and let the ball find wherever the ball goes, it goes. But if it comes to me, I'm expecting myself to make the play.
Well, it's clear you found a home here, so I'm interested to hear you say that. When did you decide that this was going to be a place where you could succeed?
When they cut me last year, to be honest. When they cut me, I still felt like I was comfortable here. I felt like this was a place where I needed to be, and that's part of the reason why I came back to practice squad and you know, worked my way to the starting lineup. So my mindset was that since they cut me. I mean, when I first got here, when I first signed through training camp, that was my mindset. And then once they cut me, it really solidified it for me. Like, no, I'm not going backwards. I'm not going left. I'm not going right. I'm going straight ahead. And so everything's worked out from that point on.
I guess for a final thought, Laquon, give me a sense of the mindset, of the confidence level of this team. By all accounts, based on the way things went last year, this team might be a little gun-shy, but I don't see that.
No, we're not gun-shy at all. I mean, we're competitors. I mean, we're ultimate competitors, and we want to win, and we expect to win. So that's going to always be our mindset. Even with Coach Pederson coming in, like he is all about winning, and the way he formulated and the way he just the way Coach Pederson puts us in position to win. You know, he wants us to be the best situation of football and situation of team in football. And with that, he put us in so many situations throughout the week, throughout OTAs, throughout training camp, which when we go in these games, it may look like we're in a rhythm, but we've practiced these situations multiple times, which leads to us executing on Sunday. So we don't blink. We play the next play, and, you know, we know how to lose, and now we're trying to get on that other edge and learn how to continue to win.
Mike, the way I hear it, there are 2 jobs available in the wide receiving corps and 3 guys competing for it. Laquon, Laviska Shenault Jr., and Tim Jones.
Yeah, well, Tim Jones has been coming on and making the most of his preseason opportunities. I think the thing you like with Laquon is you kind of know what you're going to get from him. He gives you a big-bodied red zone target. Occasionally can stretch the field, and he's a big-time contributor on special teams, whereas Laviska, the organization, has the most investment in him, although this coaching staff doesn't specifically have that investment in him. And, you know, the question is, to me, is Tim Jones enough of a potential benefit to you in the receiving game that he could knock Laquon Treadwell off this roster with all the things that Laquon does on special teams? I think those guys might be nervous approaching Tuesday.
From the way I hear it, too, Laviska Shenault's got something to prove this afternoon, too.
No question.
So it's going to be an interesting battle. Well, coming up in about 15 minutes, Jeff Lageman joins me in the booth here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And
can't nobody play perfect, but just go out there, win all my one-on-ones, and just go out there, have fun. Leave the rest to itself. Just let the film speak for itself. So just go out there, have fun, and just play ball.
That is Gregory Junior, a 6th-round pick from Ouachita Baptist, and he joins J.P. Shadrick. The Jaguars and Falcons are coming up at 3 o'clock in preseason week 2. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual. ensuring those who serve.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're hitting refresh now, palm trees swaying now, letting loose now, busting a move now, cranking up the beats now, hands in the air now, feeling free now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, we believe everyone needs a little getaway. That's why we put a little sunshine into our fresh smoothies, wraps, and flatbreads. Can you feel it? You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Join the Jaguars in D.C., Los Angeles. Watch them win in Philly, Indy, Detroit, Nashville, New York, and Houston. When you fly nonstop from Jax, on airport parking will punt the stress from your travel itinerary. Garage facilities offer defensive coverage from the weather and are a 50-yard dash from the terminal. Economy parking is just $6 a day. To learn more about nonstop flights and on-airport parking, visit flyjax.com.
Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by VyStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. Jaguars and Falcons coming up at 3 o'clock. Brian Sexton with Mike Dempsey. And Mike, I have to tell you, I catch myself saying Mercedes Benz Stadium. I have to go back.
Easy mistake to make. Yeah.
Easy mistake to make. All right, time now for our weekly commentary here in the first hour of the Publix Tailgate Show from Rick Ballou.
We've learned a lot this preseason. This is a better football team in Jacksonville. It is a far better coach team. No doubt about that. How about last year's draft class? You look at Trevor Lawrence, and Travis Etienne, Tyson Campbell, Andre Cisco. If you were to rank the top 10 performers throughout camp, those four are on it. Heck, they could be in the top 6 or 7. Walker Little, right tackle in his second year as well. That is still the biggest decision that Doug Pederson is going to have to make here over the next couple of weeks. And you add Jay Tufele, who's getting some burn. Looks like he's going to be more involved this season. Obviously, the club did say goodbye to Malcolm Brown just over a week ago. Defensively, they're getting pressure by rushing only 4. When's the last time you've been able to say that here in Duval? And a couple of fumble recoveries by the starters. Big news there, considering they only had 2 fumble recoveries during the entire 2021 season. Offensively, it's a better scheme. Wide receivers, tight ends are getting open. Here's the problem. Jacksonville outplays Pittsburgh for 29 minutes, yet they're trailing 7-6 at half. They allow that last-minute touchdown drive. They have struggled on third downs. Lawrence missed Christian Kirk a couple of times. Their red zone offense has not been good. 5 scoring drives the last 2 weeks. 4 have resulted in field goals, only 1 touchdown. They were 28th in the NFL a year ago in red zone offense, just over 51%. Kirk did say they haven't shown much of what they are going to run during the regular season, so perhaps that is promising. For what it's worth, my 53-man roster is set, so today's game won't change anything unless, of course, there are injuries. I don't have an undrafted free agent rookie making the club as well. Lack of depth has been a concern and a question all throughout Duval the last couple of weeks. Cole Van Lanen helps things out on the interior offensive line. I think 2 players will be added after the 53-man roster. The biggest position to watch is running back. If they add a guy, then you have to wonder how they feel about James Robinson. If they leave that position alone, it appears that everything is good for the Jaguars' leading rusher over the last couple of seasons.
All right, Mike, the final roster cuts come our way Tuesday. As of today, how many of the 53 do you think you got?
Boy, if I did, probably 51.
Wow.
Yeah.
You dialed it in.
So, well, something to that degree. I think you have to always leave a little bit of wiggle room, but I think there are some obvious inclusions on this. I'm not as confident as Rick that I have the whole 53 nailed. I don't think the team has the 53 nailed right now. As we just talked about the wide receiver battle, obviously the kicker battle is ongoing. I think deep in the cornerback room, you got to be a little bit concerned about earning your spot here. So there are definitely some places out there, and maybe, a fringe defensive lineman as well. But I bet I'm in the 50-51 range if I were to lay one out today.
You got a guy that you think is a surprise player that people should watch out for?
Well, I mean, I don't know at this point if it's a surprise anymore, but Israel Antwine has been a guy I've been watching all preseason after, getting to see him in person, just going up against the offensive line in one-on-ones, and he looked strong, he looked fast and explosive, and here you are getting closer and closer, and I don't know if he's going to make it or maybe be a practice squad candidate, but he's the guy that's definitely caught my eye and played up to it in the games like the same kind of impact that I saw on the practice field.
And I'll offer Josh Thompson, the young man from Texas, undrafted rookie free agent who a week ago made a dynamite play on the goal line on punt coverage. He has just continued to impress this week in practice. He's got a real chance to make the roster. The roster cuts on Tuesday mean that this final game is a big game for all of those young guys, and one of them is cornerback Gregory Junior, the 6th-round draft choice out of Ouachita Baptist. And J.P. Shadrick ran him down on the practice fields this week after the joint session with the Atlanta Falcons.
Can't nobody play perfect, but just go out there, win all my one-on-ones, and just go out there and have fun. Leave the rest to itself. Just let the film speak for itself. So just go out there, have fun, and just play ball.
All right, Mike, I need you to talk for a second because I made an error, and I don't have that loaded. I'm just being honest. Right, this is my 4th show, and the 4th show that I have done it, I got the wrong one. So if you can fill for about 20 seconds.
You work on that. No, seriously, because I'm just looking at the depth chart right now with Gregory Junior, and you look at the guys that he's competing with and some names that have gotten some nice run here in the preseason, like Benji Franklin out there. Buster Brown looks like he's securing a spot on this roster. Brian mentioned Josh Thompson a little bit earlier. This may be the most competitive area of the team. The last couple of cornerback spots, Xavier Crawford, another guy you could throw in that combination as well, Brian.
And I got it, Mike. Thanks for the help.
It's been amazing. Just like you said, just go against somebody else, like the Falcons. Different look. Usually every week we see our guys, so it was nice to come out here and see some different competition, different receivers.
Take us through your camp so far, the first month or so. What were your expectations of training camp, and what did you feel that you were successful on the practice field?
I feel like, honestly, coming in, just getting the playbook, and I feel like that's one thing I can say that I've accomplished, just getting the playbook, just learning how to be a professional athlete, and which that means like taking care of my body on and off the field, my eating habits and stuff like that. So I feel like this training camp has been good for me, just learning from the older guys, and just playing football, doing what I love to do.
I was going to say, there are some salty vets in that cornerback room that you can lean on. Who are some guys that maybe have taken you under their wing, so to speak?
I say Trey. Me and Trey talk a lot on and off the field, just about coverages and just life in general. So I look up to Trey a lot. So that's one guy I've been watching.
How different is the speed from Ouachita Baptist to now the NFL? I know it's the preseason. A lot of people talk about the game speed. We're not in the regular season yet, but can you see that in training camp and in the preseason games so far?
I mean, a little bit, but after the first series, everything slowed down. Then it's just football at the end of the day. So, I mean, speed not a big difference, really.
How big and how important is the special teams part of what you have to do in this preseason? And how do you go out and embrace those roles on the forecourt?
Oh yeah, just being a guy that's just to be able to do everything on all 4 special teams. So I feel like special teams plays an important role in me making the team and contributing to the team coming in as a rookie. So I feel like special teams is a very important part and what I can bring to the team.
Take us through this coming game against the Atlanta Falcons. It's the last opportunity to put it on tape, right? So What do you need to accomplish against the Falcons?
Just win my one-on-ones. Go out there. I mean, every game. I mean, I know can't nobody play perfect, but just go out there and win all my one-on-ones and just go out there and have fun and just leave the rest to itself. Just let the film speak for itself. So just go out there and have fun and just play ball.
Are you confident
yes,
in what you've done so far and your what could come in the next, making this team?
Yes, sir. Like you said, man, I mean, it's God's plan, so no worries at all.
PRI Productions is the official event production company of the Jaguars, and they have everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. Well, coming up at the top of the hour, J.P. Shadrick takes over from Jacksonville, but next, Jaguars analyst Jeff Lageman joins me up here in the booth at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Jaguars and Falcons kick off at 3 o'clock in preseason week 3, obviously the 4th preseason game for this football team. This is the Publix Tailgate Show, and this is Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Hold on. You want me to tell them about Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea in just 30 seconds? This is impossible. Hey, I'm Billy from Twisted Tea. How can I explain that first sip of cold, smooth, real brewed tea? So good! And the extra kick you get from just the right amount of alcohol? The twist of lemon, Wait, what? We're almost out of time? Oh, shit. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Look for the bright yellow cans wherever you buy beer.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're hitting refresh now, palm trees swaying now, letting loose now, busting a move now, cranking up the beats now, hands in the air now, feeling free now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, we believe everyone needs a little getaway. That's why we put a little sunshine into our fresh smoothies, wraps, and flatbreads. Can you feel it? You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Welcome back to the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Brian Sexton along with Mike Dempsey, kickoff of the Jaguars' third preseason game. Actually the fourth, but it's preseason game 3. Comes up at 3 o'clock. The Jaguars and the Falcons from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Time now for the first rounds on us. You're in the Virginia Hall of Fame, right?
Wait a minute. Wait. We got to change the music. The Sully's not here today.
Put some George Strait in.
I mean, let's get some.
Let's go.
Something up. Positive.
And on any regular season Sunday, I know you would be all for, right? Hey, Tony, take the Sunday off. More space. More. You have lots to say, right? But in preseason
Got more elbow
finale,
room.
yeah, no doubt. In the preseason finale, though, you'd kind of like to have the big guy here.
Absolutely.
It's one of those days, isn't it, where veteran NFL types are just trying to kind of get through the day.
Well, and the other thing, Brian, too, is that thank goodness that we had a couple practices with the Falcons this week because, you get to get a lot of storylines.
Yeah.
When you're around a team and are working against another team, and it gives you an opportunity not just to get to know your guys and your coaches better, but also to get to know the opponent a little bit. And, that's like the greatest prep work that you can get for a preseason game, especially the last one. And I'm not trying to say anything bad here, but look, in the sporting world, okay,
right.
The last preseason games don't rank very high.
No, they don't.
It's for diehards.
No, they don't. What it is, it's minors, right? You're going to get down deep and you're going to try to unearth a couple of players.
But if you're a football junkie, there's guys to watch
So
now.
let me just ask you theoretically. They went from 4 preseason games to 3, though the Jaguars had the extra one this year with the Hall of Fame. Is 2 the number, or if it was 2, the starters would only play in 1?
No, I think if you had 2 and then you still had the 2-week gap prior to the opener, that
right.
You would have starters playing
starters
both.
Playing. Okay.
2 is the perfect number. That's the first one to kind of get the feet wet, the second game to get maybe a half. And then if you ended up having a second preseason game where most of them concluded on like a Thursday or a Friday to give you a little more than 2 weeks to get ready for the opener, I think coaches and players would love it.
So besides the kicking storyline, which you will spend, and I will on TV today, talk a lot about that.
Sure.
What's the biggest question mark you have about this football team heading into the regular season?
I don't have a whole lot of questions just because, I've been around it and you kind of got an understanding of where things are going. But there are some key things to be watching today. And, really key things. At the beginning of the offseason, we were thinking Laviska Shenault was going to be an integral part of this offense,
right.
to be that X factor maybe with a Jamal Agnew. Well, now all of a sudden, is there a spot for Laviska Shenault? I think that's a serious question mark. And unless he does something tremendous in today's game, it may not be a spot for him. He hasn't shown anything yet.
No.
And the one thing you have to do when you get a new staff, clean slate for everybody, and trust has to be established. You got a player that has not done it for this coaching staff in the past, so he's got to show them. Okay, you got to carve out your own role. And we haven't really seen any role carved out. And I think this makes it an uphill climb for Laviska to find a spot on the roster. And I'll give you another guy that I'm anxious to watch, and that's the newly acquired right guard Cole Van Lanen. I think this guy at some point is going to compete for the left guard spot. He's obviously not going to compete for the right guard spot. It's Brandon Sheriff.
Right.
And the left guard spot, you've got a guy that's young and his feet sometimes don't quite work. And so Ben Bartch has got to make sure that he is on his game, because if not, this guy that you recently acquired in a trade, and trust me, he's going to be on the roster.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be right there.
Well, what's interesting is he was an all-Big Ten left tackle.
Sure.
Right? Now, there's an all-Big Ten left tackle playing right guard for the Jaguars because that's Brandon Sheriff. He was, at Iowa, the left tackle of record in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. So if this guy, I'm not saying you can't equate it like that, but you get my point. In that conference to play to that level, he can play.
Oh, yeah, he can play. He's got the feet and he's got the length. And from what I understand from the people that have watched the film on this guy, he's got the disposition. And,
a little nasty in him.
And disposition, I think, is everything. There's a couple guys on the Jaguars team that, when I say disposition, you got to have some dog in you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you remember the famous NFL films? It's Lawrence Taylor, and he's yelling at his guys on the sideline, come on, let's go out there like a bunch of crazed dogs.
Yes.
Okay? And that's what Lawrence is talking about, is there's an edge that you have to play with. And that one, I'm not talking about going out there like Aaron Donald and ripping helmets off and hitting somebody with it. That's not the kind of edge I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm talking about playing with edge and violence. And so there's a couple guys that have to be able to find a way to, I guess, tap into that.
Put a thought into your head, Van Lanen probably could be a swing tackle, too, which gives you added versatility and depth.
Yeah, I don't know if he could be a swing tackle. Maybe. Look, could he? He played tackle in college. When I look at him, I see guard.
Okay.
And I see a guy that probably could maybe play some right tackle. Could he be a left tackle? Boy, it takes a pretty special talent to play left tackle.
All right. Who's your sleeper? I go all the way back to 2009 when you were the only guy talking about Montel Owens from the University of Maine. He went to 3 Pro Bowls on special teams. Give people somebody to watch today.
This is a good one. I'm going to just give you a group that I love.
Okay.
Okay. And I think that there are some players that are not going to make this roster that are at this position because they got some really good ones. And it's safety. Defensive backfield safety position. You've got some guys that there's a lot of personnel guys around the league that would love to have some of these guys because they will fill a great role for somebody. And if you look at the starters, Cisco and Rayshon Jenkins, we know they're good. They're the starters. But behind them, Daniel Thomas, Wingard, Rudy Ford, Brandon Rusnak, those guys can play football. They're excellent special teams players. They can play some safety if they have to. And then you also have to put Xavier Crawford into that mix. He's kind of a corner/safety kind of swing guy.
He plays last week, yeah.
Yeah, and then look, now you're starting to talk about how many can you keep, and that's, probably not exactly all of those guys. And so, every team in the league is watching the film and is watching the waiver wire after this game. And there's not a lot of positions that the Jaguars have that other teams are going to be going, oh, yeah, we can't wait until they make the cut because that's our guys over there and this group, this group, and this group. But that position, that's something that the other teams will be keeping an eye on.
Is there any position with the number one waiver wire spot next week, is there any position that you would say, go find this?
Well, I said offensive line guard, and now you did that. Okay, with the trade, I will say linebacker will be one.
Wow.
And I say linebacker, I'm talking about a role player, much like I talked about those safety players.
Yep.
You need to find a guy that can contribute on special teams in a great fashion, and the other position is the big guys up front. You got to find somebody else because of Fadakasi, the ankle calf kind of thing.
Yeah, it can be tricky with a 320-pounder.
You need another backup in that type of, I guess you could say, dynamic, that type of player.
Yeah. Have a good broadcast today.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, the second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick takes over. Top stories of the day coming up, plus Jaguars radio field analyst Bucky Brooks, and much more ahead. We're 2 hours from kickoff of the preseason finale. The Jaguars and Falcons coming up at 3 o'clock. You're listening to the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Join the Jaguars in D.C., Los Angeles. Watch them win in Philly, Indy, Detroit, Nashville, New York, and Houston. When you fly nonstop from Jax, on airport parking will punt the stress from your travel itinerary. Garage facilities offer defensive coverage from the weather and are a 50-yard dash from the terminal. Economy parking is just $6 a day. To learn more about nonstop flights and on-airport parking, visit flyjax.com.
The creamiest, dreamiest soft ice cream you get from Mr. Softy. For a refreshing delight supreme, look for Mr. Softy. The milkshakes and the sundaes and the cones are such a treat. Look out for the ice cream stand, enjoy it from your seat. The creamiest, dreamiest soft ice cream you get from Mr. Softy. For a refreshing delight supreme, look for Mr. Softy. S-O-F-T-E-E, Mr. Softy.
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. in-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
The Jaguars are future-focused.
Got to be about the future. It's got to be about tomorrow and planning for the next day, and then ultimately bringing all that into focus as we attack the season.
Welcome to the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Brian Sexton have all the news and information to get you ready for today's game. The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by Baptist Health, Farah and Farah, and by TIAA Bank. The Publix Tailgate Show starts right now.
And welcome in. It's hour 2 of the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. We're 2 hours away from preseason week 3. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Atlanta Falcons. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Florida. And here we go. We are 60 minutes away on the game clock from the end of this preseason, and it's looking forward to week 1.
60 minutes away on the Publix Tailgate Show. We're like 120 minutes away from kickoff.
Thank you, Mike.
So,
yes.
Am I wrong? I'm sorry.
I said the game clock, 60 minutes of football left
until
the end of the preseason. Let's go.
I was confused by what you were talking about, JP. What can I tell you? You came in so strong here in hour number 2.
Man.
Yes, we've got 60 minutes left of football. Let's hope that we only have 60 minutes left of football.
I was
today.
told there would be no math.
Well, you
today.
threw it right at me, right out of the gates. So I thought you were saying on the countdown clock.
I got one past the goalie already, and
yeah,
it's
you did.
2 minutes into the show. Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. Here are some of today's top stories. The final preseason game today, and the last chance for players to make an impression on film, either here or for another NFL team. And head coach Doug Pederson has been through it before.
It meant a lot for me when I played, because I was the guy playing in it. That's my message to the guys that are going to play, honestly, the guys that get opportunities, because I don't want to say it's the end of the road, because there's 31 teams looking at these rosters, and put your best foot forward. It may not be with the Jaguars, it may be somewhere else, and that's the encouraging part for me, is just, the motivating factor, I guess, is just allowing them to go out and play and just relax and have fun, do their job, and, they're trying to make our team, but other teams are looking as well.
So Doug Marrone, the previous 2 head coaches ago now, I suppose, was really sensitive about this time of year because he went through this as a player. He was cut. He had to sit across that desk, and he said he remembered every conversation that a head coach or personnel person had for him when he was cut. So it's something these players remember. Doug Pederson's the same way. He worked his way up in his career, finally had a long-term home in Green Bay as a backup quarterback. But before that, he moved around a good bit and was cut a bunch. So he understands what's coming up Tuesday when you have to trim it down to 53.
Right. It's something you have to do, but you can be respectful about it. I mean, this is the livelihood or the hope to be livelihood of a lot of these young men that, for some of them, their dream of chasing the National Football League will probably come to an end this week. Others will make it onto this roster or practice squad and get to continue. Others will make it on, but then probably get bumped aside as other players become available as this process takes place all throughout the National Football League, JP. So if you are in that last half dozen spots that feel like maybe you're on the good side of things all the way down to the last man on the roster, you have to be nervous over the next few days.
From the Jaguars' perspective, though, Doug Pederson feels like that their starters, their 22 at least, are pretty much set, offense and defense. It's about depth. It's about special teams really in today's game.
Well, no question. And that's generally what it comes down to in the final preseason week. And, some of it is, okay, we know what you can do offensively, defensively. What can you do special teams-wise? Do you play all 4 teams? That's one of the things we'll be watching in the wide receiver group as we talked, Brian Sexton and I, in hour number 1, Laviska Shenault, Tim Jones, Laquon Treadwell, whatever order you want to list them in. what does LaVisca give you right now on special teams, right? They tried him as a return guy, didn't go well in punt or kickoff last week. He is a guy that the organization has an investment in, but you're weighing that against, well, is he even active on game day if he doesn't have a role on special teams? So there are a lot of things that go into this decision-making process.
The Jaguars this week had joint practices against the Falcons in Flowery Branch at the Falcons headquarters. Defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell was a longtime NFL linebacker and reminisced this week about his time in joint practices as a player.
It speeds things up, and the intensity is always going to be there because you're going against a different group. We used to go to Plattsville, the Bears, and you're in the middle of nowhere, and you go there and you're with another team, man. Training camp back when I played was 8 weeks long, and it was two padded practices a day, so you needed to break it up a little bit.
Yeah, break it up, and it certainly did a little bit for the Jaguars, I think, getting away from here, getting in the hotel with a group, and then being able to drive over to Flowery Branch and get some work done against another team and see some different bodies on the practice field. It's a different look.
Yeah, and I think it does get you a little bit more fired up to go against guys that are quote-unquote the enemy, but at the same time, the Jags and Falcons show you this week you can do it respectfully, right? You can get along. Yeah, I mean, there may be tempers that flare from time to time and a few pushes and shoves, but it doesn't have to result into a wide-scale brawl as we saw in certain instances around training camps this offseason, JP. So I do think there's value to getting these reps in against the teams that don't know exactly what you're running. You run the same thing against the same players every day. It's not always going to give you the best look. So based on everything you heard from the players and the coaching staff, they felt they got a lot accomplished this week.
Running back James Robinson continues to get time with the first team in a non-contact setting for the most part. Offensive coordinator Press Taylor likes what he sees from him, but is still at the mercy of the athletic training staff.
We're playing with Fergie and the training staff, wherever they are. If he can take reps, we'll give him reps. We'll respond to what they say following the day. You want to see how he responds to a good, heavy workload the next day, really. It's been nice getting him in there with the ones, breaking the huddle, running some runs, getting some pass protection looks with him, catching the ball out of the backfield, and it's good to see, and that'll continue moving forward into week one.
The Fergie he referenced is Jeff Ferguson, the VP of Player Health and Performance for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is a good thing to see J-Rob moving forward. There's a couple weeks now until the regular season. We'll see if he's ready to go by week one. I think it's still a little bit of a question.
Right. It's a question, even if he is ready to go, what will his role be in week one? I don't think you'd expect him to have the full James Robinson experience, but the fact that he's this close, that it's a possibility that we're 2 weeks away from seeing James Robinson debut in 2022 is probably not anything most of us would have expected would be possible when he tore that Achilles in December.
Foye Oluokun signed with the Jaguars in free agency from the Atlanta Falcons, and he spoke Thursday about his return to face his old team in practice this week, plus an interception in Thursday's practice.
It was nostalgic. Definitely felt weird, coming to compete and everybody coming and congratulating me and stuff. But it definitely is cool that they had a lot of love for me in the organization, that they would come and congratulate me before, a joint practice with a lot of my old teammates, old coaches. So I was happy to be back, just excited to compete against my old friends.
Was it nice to get your hands on that interception?
Oh, it was great. It was great. Coach Smith, made a joke about return on investment. I might as well make one play if I left for that much. I enjoy it. I like getting my hands on the football and try and make plays. It was nice to do that against the Falcons.
He made a lot of plays last year for the Falcons, led the league in tackles. We know that storyline. But now a new set of threads and a new football team and a new setting, and he's the guy calling defensive plays and a brand new defense. A lot of new around here.
Yeah.
He's a big key to all that.
No doubt, and that investment was significant in Foye Oluokun, $15 million a year, and not only are you asking him to be a playmaker, to be a guy to wear the green dot and call the defensive signals, but I think one of the biggest roles he'll have is to bring Devin Lloyd along early in this season, who has not played very much. We talked about having Luke Fortner playing next to Brandon Sheriff and how much that can be valuable to have a seasoned pro next to you who's been there, done that. I think the same thing will happen for Devin Lloyd, hopefully very quickly. We saw Chad Muma struggle a little bit early in his preseason debut and then kind of come on. Devin Lloyd hasn't had that chance to kind of get that out of his system yet. Hopefully a quarter of a play today will go a long way towards that, but I think Oluokun's going to have a big influence on him.
Yeah, and Chad Muma, the other draft pick, of course, he was kind of under the radar a little bit because of the Devin Lloyd pick, but as you said, had that time here in camp, and that's valuable because, in theory, he could have more of a role early in this season if Devin Lloyd is still trying to progress. If for some reason there's a hamstring issue that pops up again or recurs, then all of a sudden you can throw Muma in there.
Well, and you feel better because he did kind of, sometimes, that first moment under the lights, even though it's, a preseason game, it's different. The speed of the league, you have to get used to it, things like that. So hopefully maybe Devin Lloyd will get a little bit of that out of the way today. I do think that he is fully healthy. I don't think they'd risk him out there today if they didn't feel like he was beyond this. But you're right, JP. If there is another setback at any point, you feel good that at least Muma got some quality reps here getting ready for the year.
Let's hear from Devin Lloyd. Back to full practice this week against the Atlanta Falcons. That hamstring injury has limited his time in training camp. It was the day before the first practice in the conditioning drill when he tweaked it, and he gave an update earlier this week after that Wednesday practice.
Just building it back up. Slowly they're trying to ease me into the practices and limiting my reps, but it feels really good. It's strong. It's building its strength back up. It's really sore right now as expected, but I'll be ready to go week 1.
Yeah, sore after the first full practice, but he was back out there the next day, Thursday, looked fine, and he's going to play in today's game against the Falcons.
Yeah, probably the single guy that most people want to put their eyes on today, more so than any other Jaguar player, and he may end up being one of the most versatile players on this football team, right? I mean, he's going to be a tackling machine, you hope, but he can give you pass rush ability, and they lined him up a little bit as an outside rusher in that 3-4 on third down during some practices this week, and he also can drop into coverage and do a decent job for you there. So, it's just a shame he hasn't been able to get through all these reps and get him up to speed so he could feel a little bit more comfortable at the beginning of the season. But I think once he gets to that point, you're going to see that natural ability start to take over.
Those are some of today's top stories. That conversation with Devin Lloyd was from Ashlyn Sullivan, who joins us now at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, and a lot going on this week. Ashlyn, the nice rural retreat for the Jaguars this week in the joint practices at Flowery Branch, and they got a lot of work done, it felt like.
They did. We have been all over the place, it seems like. A lot of moving around this week. It's been a long trip, but very impactful, and we heard Coach Pederson say how beneficial these joint practices were, and when we saw that, especially on Thursday, I thought the offense clicked much faster on Thursday, and you saw that steady improvement from day 1 to day 2. So, yes, I think you can say it was a successful trip, and now we end it with this final preseason game.
Ashlyn, we're going to hear your conversation fully with Devin Lloyd coming up and countdown to kickoff. It's also available on Jaguars social media from earlier this week and Jaguars.com. But it seems like his head's in a pretty good place, Devin Lloyd.
It absolutely is, and I think it was really interesting. It'd be pretty easy for a rookie who missed his entire first training camp to kind of be down and kind of see this as a negative that he's missed this crucial time. But I love what he said, where he now sees the game differently thanks to being on the sidelines and getting all these mental reps. He said he kind of sees it as a coach's viewpoint now, and I think that's all you can ask for, is he took a positive from it, and now we're going to finally see him on the football field.
All right, Ashlyn Sullivan in Atlanta. You caught up with head coach Doug Pederson today. What do you have to say?
I did, and I think Coach has a very unique angle to this game. He was cut 6 times in his playing career, so he absolutely understands what these guys are going through fighting for a roster spot, and he had all the updates on Devin Lloyd in this ongoing right tackle battle.
The expectations are positive, and the expectations are for him to play hopefully a quarter, maybe a little bit more, depending on how many snaps he gets. He's fought through it. We had to be real patient with him. With this injury, we didn't want any setbacks this late in preseason, obviously getting close to the regular season, but really looking forward to him getting out there, watching him, and hopefully we can get a quarter, maybe a little more out of him.
And all eyes, all training camp, have been on this right tackle battle. Interestingly enough, Walker Little and Juwan Taylor will not play today. So where are you right now with this battle?
Yeah, I think we're close, honestly. It's been a really good battle for us. It's been one that we've watched closely. We've given them pretty much fair opportunities to compete against each other. It was unfortunate Juwan got hurt earlier in camp, but it was great for Walker to get in there and get some great reps. We still have one more week after this as we kind of, narrow our roster down to 53 next week. But it's getting there. It's getting there, and I think we'll wait till week 1.
While the Jaguars will play a game today, I know starting tomorrow it's very difficult to be a head coach and start with these roster cuts. And interestingly enough, you know how this goes. You know how this works being cut in your playing career. Does that help you now as a coach? Do you apply anything with those lessons?
It brings you back to those days when I was released, as a player, and obviously you're sympathetic towards the player, and you got that empathy that goes on, and you're disrupting their life a little bit, but at the same time, we have to get to 53. We know it's the nature of the business. We've got to get that roster down, and we're excited for that, but at the same time also excited to watch these players play and hopefully catch on with either another team or possibly our practice squad.
Ashland Sullivan with head coach Doug Pederson earlier today, and that roster cut looming. Tuesday is the big day, Ashland, but then it only just begins. The waiver claim process is after that, and this could be a churn for a few days even after the cut.
Oh, yeah, and that's why you can't get attached. And I think I've learned that at least the first couple of years of covering this team is you almost finalize it. All right, here's the 53, and then I'm like, wait a second, this roster now looks all of a sudden so different 7 days later. So, yes, we can expect a lot of these guys on the field tonight that possibly a practice squad or who knows. But, yes, you can't get attached and you can't stamp it with a final answer because, as we know, number one in the waiver wire claim, it's going to be a lot of moving around this week.
Ashland, you'll be on the sidelines for us on Jaguars Radio today, and have a great game. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. Talk to you guys soon.
Ashland Sullivan, also the host of Jags Drive Time on Jaguars.com. We're about 15 minutes away or so from the players who will not dress for today's game. Get your pencils and scorecards ready. It could be a long list today, Mike, of guys not going.
I have a feeling it will be. I think we know a bunch of them already.
We're about 20 minutes away from a pregame huddle up with NFL Network analyst and Jaguars radio field analyst Bucky Brooks. Up next, we'll hear from special teams coordinator Heath Bardwell with Brian Sexton earlier this week. He explained the opportunity ahead for players looking for the roster spots that remain. The Jags and the Falcons coming up at 3 o'clock. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Paid for by FDOT.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're hitting refresh now, palm trees swaying now, letting loose now, busting a move now, cranking up the beats now, hands in the air now, feeling free now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, we believe everyone needs a little getaway. That's why we put a little sunshine into our fresh smoothies, wraps, and flatbreads. Can you feel it? You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
From TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is the Publix Tailgate Show. We're inside 2 hours from preseason week 3. The Jags and the Falcons coming up in Atlanta. Kickoff set for 3 o'clock. Roster cuts are looming, down to 53 on Tuesday. The final chance for players to make an impression for this team or for, as the cliche goes, 31 other teams in the NFL. It's true, though. All these teams are watching this tape, and Doug Pederson has said it, Mike, that hey, the starters are pretty much intact for this team. It's a matter of depth and special teams. And, special teams is where this discussion goes now. We're going to hear from the coordinator, Heath Farwell, a guy who worked his way up in the NFL as a special teams player and now has been a coordinator at this spot. He understands it's a challenge. There's a lot going on with all these players coming and going off the roster, and then all of a sudden you're changing specialists in the middle of training camp too. A number of kickers have rolled through here.
Yeah, kickers, you've tried some different guys out as return men, although you know who your primary guy will be. And, you're going to have new guys added to this roster, JP, probably this week that have not played under Heath Farwell or any of these coaches before, and you've got to get them up to speed in less than just about a week and a half, I guess. But I think the Jags, like every other team, probably have a list already. And while this 4th preseason game for the Jags and 3rd for the rest of the league will matter, I think, in the case of like a guy like Cole Van Landen, like the Jags obviously had him on their radar, decided to go out and make that move, not wait to find out if he was going to be a part of the Green Bay Packers or any other team could swoop in and try to make a play for him as well. So while, yes, you can certainly tip the scales in your favor, I think the watch list is already pretty well written by every team around the NFL.
If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capabilities and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between, this truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars senior correspondent Brian Sexton visiting with special teams coordinator Heath Farwell this week. And the Jaguars are on yet another kicker in this preseason with the addition of James McCord.
It's just part of the process. We're trying to find the best roster, and we're just going to keep going through not only the kicker position, but all positions. Is this guy on our team better than anybody across the league that may come available? And we're going to continue that. That's going to be all season long of, hey, this guy, we like our guy, but this other guy's pretty good as well. And we have to really look into that and evaluate that each and every day and every week. So we'll continue to do that throughout the season. And we're trying, like I said, we're trying to get the best roster. And whatever that takes, we're going to do it.
What kind of pressure is there on a kid like that to come in on a short week and perform?
There's some pressure, but I think anytime you're a kicker, there's always pressure. And the good part about him, from what I've learned since I've been with him the last couple of days, and even just looking into, his special teams coordinator is a good friend of mine with the Chargers, spoke very highly about him and his mindset. And so I think that's what you're looking for in a kicker is what is his mindset, because they all have good talent and they all can kick at this level. It's just a matter of who has the right mindset that when it comes down to it and the pressure kicks are on, are you going to be able to make it and keep your technique and do all the things you need to be a good kicker in this league?
Joe D told me the day they drafted Logan Cooke, this guy's going to be the best punter in the league. What do you see from him early on in your time working with him? And I thought he's looked terrific so far this summer.
Yeah, I mean, Jody was right. That's a heck of a football coach and a talent evaluator, a good friend of mine as well. Jody did a good job of getting him here, and I hope he's here for a long time, as long as I'm here, because he is as good as there is, if not the best in the league. His ability to have hang, distance, and direction, I've never had a guy that can do stuff he does, and just he can really control the return game that's so valuable down the field. You know, he's put together several good games in a row for us, 3 in a row, of just really controlling the returner, of putting the ball near the out of bounds or out of bounds, and those are huge when you get those no-yard returns. Those are super valuable, especially when he's getting them out there 50-something yards, a time, and then his ability in the plus 50, with some of his different kicks that he has to really pin him inside the 10 is second to none.
You know, it's that killer instinct, though, that I like the most about him. He's got this really laid-back demeanor, and yet when he's back there, ready to kick, you can almost sense the fact he's trying to punish the other team.
Yeah, he's super competitive. So he does have that laid-back attitude, that Southern attitude from Mississippi. But he's a killer because he's so competitive, and when he doesn't perform like he wants to, he nobody's more upset than he is, and so he puts that little bit of pressure on himself that makes him great.
As we get to the final preseason game, your job might be the hardest because you've got to find your guys. Are there guys sneaking up the roster? Are there names you're looking for in the game against the Falcons that can make this roster with a strong performance?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of the spots, with the starters have already kind of made their way, but it's these other guys, the back half of the roster, and primarily on special teams, that's where it shows up. So if we can find those guys, and this is the last push, to make an impression. And there's been a lot of guys, undrafted free agents, myself included, have made this team because of the last preseason game and what it looked like to compete and getting a whole game to deal with. You know, the first 3 games you may only get a couple reps or you may get a series. Well, guess what? In this game, you're going to get a bunch of reps and really can showcase what you can do and can you play at this level.
People might not know there are only 2 coaches that talk to the whole team on a weekly basis, the head coach and the special teams coordinator. So give me your perspective. You're in front of these guys when they're in the meeting room. What do you see from this team?
I love the attitude of these guys. You know, they've all bought into what Coach Pederson's doing and what we're all doing, and they want to win and they're hungry to win. You said it best. It's a cool perspective of dealing with the whole team. One of my favorite groups I get to work with is the offensive line on the field goal unit. You know, they're a great group, but it's not somebody a lot of people get to work with. So getting to know those guys all the way to the DBs to the receivers, it's a great group to work with, and they're motivated. They care about the game. They care about what we're doing and putting our, the best product on the field. So we're excited where we're at, and we're excited where we're headed.
That's Heath Farwell, the special teams coordinator, and yeah, that is a good point. He's in front of the team every week. He handles so many players on a day-to-day basis that he has a pretty good feel on where this team is right now.
Oh, no doubt. And I think all those things he said are important about guys trying to earn their spot and getting extended playing time. But I think if you boil it down to the average Jaguar fan today, it's James McCourt and Jake Verity. Do we have a kicker that we can feel good if we're going with one of these 2 today? And today will be your first and only glimpse at that.
Yeah, that's something to watch for sure in today's game. When the Jags come roaring back to the bank, will you be there? With our new bundle at the bank, you can purchase tickets to 3 or more games of your choice starting at $46 per game. You'll get access to Jags and Daly's Place pre-sales, discounts on single game tickets, a dedicated account representative, and more bundle-exclusive perks. Lock in your seats at jaguars.com/bundle or call 904-633-2000. We're about 15 minutes away from Mike Dempsey's fantasy forecast. It should be a doozy today in preseason week 3. Looking forward to that. But up next, players out of today's game and a pregame huddle-up podcast with Bucky Brooks and John Oehser in Atlanta. We're about an hour and a half away from kickoff. The Jaguars and the Falcons coming up, and this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts,
You'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Paid for by FDOT.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Are your heating and cooling costs extremely high? Do you want to extend the lifespan of your heating and cooling system investment? If so, Florida Home Air Conditioning is ready to help you save some money. Schedule your annual AC or heating system tune-up today with Florida Home Air Conditioning for only $59. Florida Home Air Conditioning, official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Call 855-FLA-HOME.
License number CMC 1250399, CFC 1430664, EC 130-08557.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. It's preseason week 3. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Atlanta Falcons coming up at 3 o'clock, about 6 minutes after 3 o'clock. Yep. Toe meets leather today at the official time. And as we said, hey, inactives, not true inactives, players that won't dress are due out any moment. We'll get those to you as soon as we get the official word in. That unofficially, I would think it'd be a long list today, Mike.
Starters. That's where I just write
Right.
starters.
At least 22.
Yeah, the key reserves. You got to have enough guys to field a team, but obviously you still have an expanded roster, so that won't be an issue today. And, look, for instance, they bring back Jake Luton, probably just as much to get through this week as anything, JP, so they don't have to expose either of their top 2 quarterbacks. So don't expect, other than Devin Lloyd, don't expect anybody much on offense or defense that has a chance to crack the starting lineup, at least to open the season.
All right, players who will not dress today coming up shortly. Let's go to Atlanta and welcome in Jaguars.com senior writer John Oehser from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Bucky Brooks somewhere in the vicinity, we're told. John, what's up? How are you?
I am here. I am not with Bucky, but I know he's in the airwaves at some point soon.
Yes. Is the Oculus open today in Atlanta, or is it closed?
It is closed, so it's very, nice day because it's closed.
It's almost like it's indoors or something.
Yeah, it's almost like there's no weather.
Imagine that. Doug Pederson doesn't seem to be, at least publicly, overly concerned about finding a kicker. Privately, how do you think he feels?
Well, I think he wants to get it done. I think he's concerned, and it's a front-burner issue. I don't think he's panicking because, as he said this week, he's been through this before in Philadelphia in 2017. I think everybody heard the story this week. They tried out 6 kickers, and Elliott stuck with the team the entire season is still there. So I don't think he's worried about it, but I think he wants either Jake Verity, I believe his name is,
yes,
or James McCourt. I think he would love to feel like there's some consistency with those guys. McCourt had a good day. What was it, JP? Thursday. 8 of 8. I think it'll get solved. I think fans are angsty and panicky more than Doug is, but he wants to get it done.
So, John, one thing the Jags and Falcons avoided was the big brawl at their joint practices this week, fortunately for them, as cooler heads prevail. But what did you feel like the Jags got accomplished this week that they might not have been able to do just practicing amongst themselves?
I guess some coverage looks, probably not much, to be honest with you, but I think Doug likes it in terms of getting the guys away and not practicing against your own guys for a while. They could have accomplished the same thing had they been in Jacksonville, but I think players after, that long, and it's not long compared to the old days, but it's still a while being in camp against each other. I think they like the idea of getting over and getting against some other players. JP and I talked on the field a couple of days. It really wasn't an overly intense week, and you get the idea that once they got there, once they started going, both coaches kind of said, hey, we're pretty healthy right now. Let's keep it that way. It felt very dialed back to me, but I think the Jaguars did get some good red zone work done. I think the end of practice periods both days, it felt like the Jaguars offense maybe gained a little confidence in the red zone and finishing. They finished some drives. I think that was a good thing. And JP, you'll be glad to know Bucky Brooks is with us.
All right.
You know Bucky, JP.
I've heard of him. He's all over, and he's now in the booth. Good afternoon, Bucky. Oh, he's not on there yet. We don't hear Bucky. He's there.
Well, I hear him, so it's
maybe you
I'll translate it for you, JP.
Yeah, maybe you can translate for us, John. That'd be great because we cannot hear him. Hey, John, this is you talked to Trevor Lawrence or asked him in the press conference the other day, how he feels he's progressed. Where is he at? It seems like his head's on straight. He's in a pretty good place right now at quarterback. He obviously won't play in this game today, but he's there's a lot of new around there, and he's handled it pretty well so far, John. And we'll get – John, are you there? I've got you, John. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I am here. I think he likes where he is. You're talking about Trevor Lawrence. I think he likes where he is. I think Doug Pederson likes where he is. I think they knew coming into this training camp that there was growth that needed to happen. I think they knew they were going to be dealing with a lot of newness. So Doug has been very upfront that he believes this will be a process. He believes that Trevor is walking the right path at the right pace toward being where they want to be. I think Doug likes what he sees. I'm just not overly concerned about some of the inaccuracies, some of the incompletions you've seen. I know fans are going crazy over it. I think Trevor looks fine to me, and I think he'll be fine once the regular season starts. I don't think he's going to be elite this year. I don't think he's going to be one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the league. I think he's going to start marching in that direction. I think you'll like him a lot more at the end of the season.
Let's try Bucky Brooks again. What do you think about all that, Buck?
Well, I think John was spot on when it comes to the development of Trevor Lawrence. I think there's a lot to be excited about, but I think you want to temper your optimism. I expect him to make a major leap in year 2. There are a couple things that work in his favor. One, the play caller is a quarterback-friendly play caller, so the offense is going to be catered to his strengths, and we've seen some of that in preseason. The offense has really moved when Trevor and the guys have been on the field, except in the red zone, so that's something that they can fix. 2, I think Trevor Lawrence is I think his mind has slowed down now that he's seen the game for a full season. So now he's comfortable. He understands what he's facing. Because of that, he can be more aggressive and more decisive in his play. And the final piece of it is the weapons around him are upgraded. Like last year, the guys couldn't separate on the perimeter. So now you have Christian Kirk comes over, Evan Ingram comes over, you have Zay Jones. You have a better wide receiving core. That should enable him to have more success on the perimeter.
Hey, guys, who's a veteran player who should not feel that comfortable as final cutdowns approach on Tuesday?
I guess an obvious choice would be K'Lavon Chaisson, although I think he's going to make the team. Walker Little, he's not going to get cut. I think he plays today. He's clearly not going to get cut. I think that's still an ongoing storyline. Beyond that, veterans, Bucky, any
I think Laviska Shenault is the guy you have to watch. I think he's squarely on the hot seat, and he may not know that he's on the hot seat, but I think all indications are that he is a guy that is certainly playing for his Jaguars life, as we would say.
Yes, no question about that.
Yeah, because I don't know what role he slots at. He wanted to be a returner. He had an opportunity, didn't really do it. He doesn't do anything on kickoff coverage units. And if you're the 5th or 6th receiver, that's a revolving door, and that position normally goes to the better special teamer. So we'll see if he can show something, but right now I think he's squarely on the hot seat.
Hey, what's the plan today at quarterback in this game?
Well, I think you see E.J. Perry will get the full load, and they'll have to have an emergency situation if he would happen to get hurt. And that emergency is not going to be Trevor Lawrence, I can't imagine. So I would think you'll see Beathard suiting up in some capacity, with the idea that he'll only play if it's an injury situation, and I think you would see a lot of handoffs.
Right. He's
back to Bucky's wing tee that he likes to run.
Well, I mean, nothing wrong with running the wing tee. Like in this game in particular, because we want the clock to run. We want the clock running. We want to get out here with no injuries. We want these guys that are really fighting for jobs to have an opportunity to play, but we don't want to lose anybody.
Bucky's trying to butter me up there with the running clock.
I mean, the running
clock.
That's the whole point of the wing tee, to shorten the game, my man. That's what we're trying to do.
By design, that's for sure. Hey, guys, have a great day today, and we'll talk to you. Bucky, have a great show on television today.
Oh, man, we're going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be an epic day today in Jaguars lore. How about that?
To it. I like that. John,
guys, we'll see you.
Do well at whatever it is you do.
I'll give it a shot.
It's John Oehser and Bucky Brooks from Atlanta. The roster updates for today's game. These are the players now that will not play in today's game officially, and about 26 of them. Travis Etienne Jr., running back, is out. This is numerical order, by the way. Rayshawn Jenkins, the safety, will not play. Zay Jones, wide receiver. Marvin Jones, Christian Kirk, they're all out today. Trevor Lawrence will not play. Tight end Evan Ingram is out. Cornerback Darius Williams will not play. Running back James Robinson out. Cornerbacks Shaquille Griffin and Tyson Campbell. Safety Andre Sisco. Wide receiver and kick returner Jamal Agnew will not play. And then on defense, it's outside linebackers Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker off to the side. Defensive lineman Arden Key is out. Devon Hamilton, the nose tackle, won't play. Linebacker Foye Oluokun will not play. Offensive linemen Brandon Sheriff, Cam Robinson, Jawan Taylor, Will Richardson Jr., and Luke Fortner will not play. Chris Manhertz, tight end, will not play. DeJuan Smoot, Foley Fatukasi, and Roy Robertson Harris on the D-line will not play. Walker Little is not on that list. So, in theory, he would play in today's game.
Well, and Brian Sexton mentioned in hour number one that Doug Pederson indicated to him this week that that's probably where they're going to open the season. Jawan Taylor is going to be your starting right tackle. Walker Little failed to capitalize on Taylor's absence there for a couple weeks there in training camp, and doesn't mean he won't play at all this year, though, JP. I mean, as close as this battle has been, I don't think the official announcement has been made to the team yet, but if it comes down to the final preseason game, it could easily swing back the other way at some point. By the way, no official list of inactives from the Atlanta Falcons, although you could expect it's probably about as lengthy as Jacksonville's.
We are inside 20 minutes from Jaguars Radio Network coverage with Countdown to Kickoff. That starts at 2 o'clock. We'll return, though, with a Mike Dempsey fantasy forecast and Frank Frangie from the broadcast booth. The Jaguars and Falcons kick it off at 3 o'clock. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. in-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
The original pizza logs are a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and available at the stadium on game day. You'll find those delicious gourmet pizza egg rolls at concession stands, clubs, and suites. For all their products, be sure to check out pizzalogs.com and have them delivered right to your home. That's pizzalogs.com.
Put down the burger, put down the dog. Pick up the original pizza log. There's only one. The original pizza log. Yeah.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to tap into their inner eagle and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So fly over the radar. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
This is the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. We continue from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville ahead of a preseason Week 3 matchup in Atlanta, Georgia. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Atlanta Falcons at 3 o'clock today. 3:06, the official kickoff time. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from our studios at TIAA Bank Field. And, yes, it's preseason Week 3. And yes, we will still have a Mike Dempsey fantasy forecast.
Tim Jones, baby, all day. Let's go, Snoop Connor. Come on. No, we're not going to do a forecast about this game, although there are people that play preseason fantasy football. JP, if you think I'm a degenerate, there's a whole new level out there waiting for you to get exposed to. What I'm going to tell you about today is with 2 weeks to go before the start of the regular season, now is when the majority of people are getting ready to do their fantasy drafts. People like to wait because they think that people – once you've gotten past the preseason games, no one's going to get injured if I draft them now, which, of course, is not the case. But nevertheless, here is where the key Jaguar players are going in drafts. And this is important information to know where they go on average because it can kind of help you not reach too early or at least start to, kind of perk your ears up a little bit when a particular round rolls around to wait for that player's name to be called. Travis Etienne is the earliest Jaguar being selected. He's the 15th running back on average, and all these averages come from the last 7 days from National Fantasy Football Championships data. Travis Etienne has been taken as the 31st player overall, so in a typical 12-team league, he's going to go right in the middle of round 3. I think it's a risky selection there because you've got James Robinson. We don't know what his involvement's going to be early in the season. James actually the third highest Jaguar being selected after Christian Kirk. Kirk comes in at 76th overall. I think still a bargain, although he's been climbing this offseason. He started the offseason in the 9th round. That's an early 7th round selection. I've seen Kirk go higher than that right now, and for me, he is the best combination of price to invest and expected production that you can get from any Jaguar skill position player in a fantasy draft. Now, mentioned Robinson comes in 3rd. He's going in the middle of the 11th round on average, so he's very inexpensive if you want to pick him up maybe as a hedge if you already have Etienne on your roster, or you're just speculatively trying to get a good value on a guy who may have a pretty significant role when his Achilles can handle it. Trevor Lawrence going in the late 12th round right now, quarterback number 17. So if you play in a 2-quarterback or super flex league, he's a guy that definitely comes off early in that second flight of QBs. Evan Ingram, I think a fantastic value as the 20th tight end being selected in the late 15th round. And Marvin Jones going right after him. But Zay Jones is practically free in fantasy drafts right now. Truly, in a 12-team league, 20 rounds, on average, he is not being selected at all. Now, that's not the leagues I'm in because I'm happily rostering Zay Jones as like my 7th receiver, JP, because I've seen what he's been doing here this offseason. And, again, at that level of investment in your last round, now here in Jacksonville, Jaguar fans are going to take their players a little bit higher, right? But if you are just in a typical fantasy league, an online league or an online draft, you can wait until your last pick practically if you think Zay Jones has a spot on your roster and feel pretty confident you're not going to miss out. He's going off as the 86th wide receiver overall. That would be considered, out of all the starting wide receivers in the National Football League, like a low-end wide receiver 3 for fantasy. You don't start that many guys in a typical fantasy league. You start about 36, maybe 48 if you're playing a flex position. So Zay Jones is free. Travis Etienne's the most expensive, but I think Christian Kirk is going to be the guy with the combination of price and production that makes you the happiest.
You got a couple weeks to figure it out, right? I mean, regular season's coming up.
I've been figuring it out for about 6 months, but yes.
How many leagues are you going to be in?
I've drafted over 100 teams already this year. So somewhere over 100. You don't have to manage all those teams, though.
How do you keep track of
Well, you don't have to. A lot of those leagues, like about 95 of those leagues, once you draft, you're done. And you automatically, like say you have a 20-man roster, you'll automatically get your best lineup combination every week. And those are fun because it keeps you up on where guys are coming off the board, and you get a chance to win a little cash along the way as well.
There you have it. The fantasy forecast. If you're a Jaguars fan on the go, we've got the ticketing plan for you. The bundle at the bank is designed to fit your schedule and save you money by creating your own custom plan. From celebrating Tony Baselli's Hall of Fame enshrinement October 9th to cheering on the Jags against the Dallas Cowboys December 18th, you get the flexibility you want for your time at the bank this fall. Get your bundle at the bank at jaguars.com/bundle or call 904-633-2000. Let's head back to Atlanta, Georgia, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the site of this preseason Week 3 game. The Atlanta Falcons entertain the Jacksonville Jaguars, or at least the deep Jacksonville Jaguars. All the starters are down. Frank Frangie joining us now from the broadcast booth. This is a depth and special teams day. Frank, what's up?
Yeah, it really is. Hey, JP and Mike, good to be on with you guys. You're exactly right. This is a day for a handful of guys still trying to make a team. A 5th linebacker, a 4th or 5th cornerback, a 5th wide receiver. And so special teams really matters today now. Certainly it matters who covers kicks better, who protects better, because that's how you make the team today, I think. Also, by now, the kicker competition. There's 2 new kickers here that have never kicked in a Jaguars uniform, James McCourt and Jay Verity, who they just signed. So I would imagine they'll alternate today, I'm guessing now. So, yeah, those are the kind of competitions I think we'll see today.
Frank, we'll also get to see, at least for a little while, it appears, Devin Lloyd out there, one of the Jaguars' first-round picks. This is the guy that I think everyone's going to have their eyes on. How important is it for him not to get too overexcited out there, and just try to stay within the framework of what he's been taught to do in these days in training camp?
Yeah, that's right. And, Mike, if you're going to get too excited, let's go ahead and do it today and not in 2 weeks in Washington, right? So
sure.
That's one of the reasons you're out there, because you're dead on. It's going to be exciting. First time ever playing in an NFL uniform, playing in an NFL stadium against an NFL team. He's going to be hyped a little. I think right now you're probably going to see him 15 plays would be my guess. I don't think he's going to play a whole lot. He's going to get adjusted to the speed of the game. I think that's the idea. I think he'll start along Shaq Quarterman along with, and then my guess is he'll be done pretty early. But you got to get a feel, because I can tell you the plan is full go for Devin Lloyd against Washington. Whether he starts the game next to Foye Oluokun or whether Chad Muma starts the game and Devin plays pretty quickly, they've got 3 to play 2 there. That's the plan. And so I think the plan is full go in Washington. So you're right. We'll all be watching 33 today just to see how he looks running around out there.
Frank, let's cut the wide receiver room right now. Who are your 5 or 6 that are making this team?
The first 3, obviously, are the starters, Jones, and Kirk. Up until 2 weeks ago, I thought Laviska Shenault was the 4th guy. I don't think that anymore. I think Jamal Agnew now, if you asked him to rank him, would be the 4th guy. After that, I think Tim Jones might have moved past Laquon Treadwell, so I had him at the 6th spot. But now I'm not sure about Shenault. He's going to play today, JP. I think that's telling. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see Shenault today. So right now, I'm going to guess that both Treadwell and Tim Jones make the team. That's the 6th, and that maybe Shenault doesn't. Now I'm guessing at that, but so that's different than I would have thought. 2 weeks ago, I would have thought Treadwell and Jones are fighting for that last spot, but they like them both. They really like Jones on special teams, all 4 special teams, all core 4. So I'm going to guess now no Shenault and Treadwell and Jones back on the team if I was guessing right now.
Frank, is the competition at corner as good as any right now? It seems like there are maybe 4 or 5 guys that are interchangeable that have a chance to compete for maybe 1 or 2 roster spots here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Chris Claybrooks has earned his way into the first backup corner spot, and, of course, Trey Herndon will be the backup nickel. But I agree with you, Mike. After that, a lot of guys have reared their head. Greg Junior's looked good at times. Monteric Brown at times. Benji Franklin at times. There's a lot of guys there that are battling for that spot. I don't know who's going to land there, and I would think that that's a good call. I would think today would affect that a little. Today's not going to affect a lot, but I think what you just pointed out, after Chris Claybrooks, who I think is on the team, I think the next 2 or 3 cornerbacks is probably still up for grabs, and I think they can decide that today.
All right, Frank, that'll do it for this portion of the program. You'll lead off, countdown to kickoff coming up, and enjoy the game today in that beautiful stadium in Atlanta.
I will. Boy, JP, it really is a beautiful, beautiful stadium. We will for sure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Frank.
Frangie from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The Oculus is closed today, Mike. Dome conditions in Atlanta.
Okay. Probably need that here, too. I haven't been outside in a while, but looks like we're needing some covered roof coming up this afternoon.
Yeah, I think so. So here we are. It's the last preseason game, last chance. We went through the list of players that will not play in today's game. That means there are some key spots to take a look at. We mentioned some of those there with Frank, wide receiver especially, cornerback, special teams contributors for both of those will be big today.
Of course. And the closer you get, too, it's just look, I understand based on production or lack thereof, but it's still somewhat shocking that we're talking about a guy in Laviska Shenault, who was a high second-round pick, being squarely on the roster bubble 2 years into his career, and you get the sense that most close observers think he is a guy with 1 foot out the door right now.
A lot to watch today. Jaguars Radio Network coverage is coming up with Countdown to Kickoff. We'll have the top stories of the day, pride of the Jaguars running back Fred Taylor, and the final word before kickoff with Jags head coach Doug Pederson. The Jags and the Falcons coming up in just over an hour. Thank you for listening to the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
What makes that famous call
dinner's ready
even better? It's cooking a great meal with natural gas, enjoying faster cooking times and precise temperature control. And now getting a valuable cash rebate up to $300 when you install an energy-efficient natural gas range or cooktop.
Anyone want seconds?
When you show your home love with natural gas, it loves you right back. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're hitting refresh now, palm trees swaying now, letting loose now, busting a move now, cranking up the beats now, hands in the air now, feeling free now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, we believe everyone needs a little getaway. That's why we put a little sunshine into our fresh smoothies, wraps, and flatbreads. Can you feel it? You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
The Jaguars are future-focused. Welcome to Countdown to Kickoff. JP Shadrick and Mike Dempsey will get you ready for today's game. You'll hear from Frangie, Jeff Lageman, Hall of Famer Tony Baselli, Fred Taylor, and the head coach of your Jacksonville Jaguars, Doug Pederson. Countdown to Kickoff is brought to you by